Welcome to Building Families, Bridging Differences, a Family Law Journey.
Welcome to Building Families, Bridging Differences, a Family Law Journey with Shelly Cooley, the founder of the Cooley Law Firm. I'm your host, John Clements, and today's episode is Contrasting Realities, Helping Clients from Divorce to Surrogacy. So Shelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. So tell us a little bit, what inspired you to start the Cooley Law Firm?
I had been working for another firm in Las Vegas, Nevada, and decided that I wanted to do family law differently and to do family law my way. By that, I mean, it's just me. If you call, I answer the phone. If I don't answer, leave a message, I'll call you back. You text me directly, you email me directly. All work done on your cases by me. There isn't anyone that is the middle person between me and my clients. My clients have direct access to me, and I really wanted to be able to provide that very personal, individualized service and representation to my clients. Family law can be a very difficult time in someone's life. No matter what type of family law matter you have. And it's really important that you have an attorney who you feel comfortable working with. And I believe that the attorney being hands-on is the best way to do that.
Nice. So it sounds like you're really dialing in on the personalization. Like this is what we're trying to do, is person to person, trying to help a person out.
Correct.
So tell us, what specific areas of family law does your firm specialize in?
I handle all areas of family law as a certified family law specialist. I do divorce, child custody, child support, as well as family building. And family building is adoption and assisted reproduction technologies, which is a very, very exciting part of my practice.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? What does that exactly mean? Like, let's assume that I don't know, the law side or even the technology side. What is exciting about that?
Family building is what folks utilize to build their families. You can build through adoption. You can build through gestational surrogacy arrangements. You can utilize egg and sperm donation, embryo donation. And in Nevada, we have incredibly favorable family building laws. I would say we probably have the most favorable laws in the world right now, and we have for a very long time. So in Nevada, you can be single and build your family. You can be married and build your family. You can be straight. You can be gay. The court doesn't care. If you want to build your family in Nevada, we can help you do so.
Well, that's really cool. I had no idea that Nevada, of all places, would be the best place to do something like that.
It really is. It's incredible. And it's such a wonderful process. In Nevada, both sides have to be represented by counsel. So you have the intended parents, and then you also have the gestational carrier and her partner, or you have the donor, and if the donor has a partner. And each side has to be represented by independent counsel so that we can ensure that the agreement that's entered is in compliance with the law. And we also want to make sure that the contract is fair and equitable, because obviously in this process, you want to make sure that we don't have any child trafficking concerns. That's always a concern when we're dealing with children, adoption and assisted reproduction. So we want to ensure that that is not the situation. So we've got those safeguards in place. But the wonderful thing and the unusual thing about all sides being represented in the family building setting is that we're all trying to build the family. So instead of us being, adversarial and fighting each other, we are trying to work together so that we can agree upon terms for a fair contract so that everyone is on the same page as far as building this family together. So it's very exciting. And I love it when I get pictures of the babies that are born. Like I just got one yesterday. We find out great news. Baby arrived safe and sound. Carrier's doing great. Intended parents are great. It's the best feeling ever.
That is a great feeling. I love that. As a parent myself, there's nothing better than, bringing that first child into the world. So that's exciting and fun and fulfilling, but you also handle the other side of the spectrum. So you also handle divorce cases. So what led you to be interested in doing both of those things in your practice?
Well, I started out in the family law arena generally. Assisted reproduction hasn't always been the practice area that it is currently. It's a relatively new area. We've got lots and lots of advances that are happening in the more than a decade that I've been working in this area. But when I first started out as a family law attorney, this wasn't even an area that you could devote a large part of your practice to. Before I was an attorney, I was a teacher, and I loved working with kids. And what I love about family law is really focusing on the kids. I have a different perspective than some attorneys. I was a psychology major in college with a minor in human development. So I'm very much focused on the best interests of children. How is everyone doing? How can we resolve these situations so that my client and hopefully the children have peace and find peace in their matter?
Yeah, and I really like that, especially coming from someone in the law profession, to talk about peace and emotional health is so refreshing to bring that perspective. And you even have a background with your education and vocation in that. And so I want to talk about that a little bit more, because when you're dealing with both ends of that spectrum, whether it's divorce or surrogacy and egg donation, there is probably a lot of emotions involved with all of those things. So how do you help your clients navigate these emotional landscapes?
I think that that's actually something that comes natural to people, or it doesn't. It's always come very naturally to me. I'm a big sister. I have 4 younger sisters. I'm a helper. I was a teacher. I had, my last year teaching 5th grade in Clark County, Nevada. I had 36 kids. I called them my kids. So I very much want to help facilitate finding peace and finality, closure to your situation. So what we need to do, let's do it. Let's look at things practically. Let's figure out what we need to do so that this situation is going to be resolved in such a manner that you have peace with it, or, depending on what the situation is, sometimes it's a matter of just helping the client understand this is why the judge did what the judge did. Again, helping them make peace with their matter.
Yeah, I
So
like that. Yeah.
education is a very important part of what I do as well. I'd like to make sure my clients understand the process, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and of course, getting input from them as to what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think just from even just talking with you for a few minutes, it sounds like just the manner in which you present information helps with that. You're probably actively listening as well. I think all of those probably focus into that. So let's also talk about this from a different angle, though, because there's the emotional piece, which is important. There's also just the challenges that you have to go through when whether it's going through a divorce, whether you're looking to build a family through surrogacy, egg donation. So what are some of the challenges that these families face, and then how do you help them?
When you're dealing with family law, just in general, finances are often a challenge. I was talking to a friend of mine, and they jokingly said, a friend/colleague, and they said, criminal defense attorneys, they're meeting with the worst people on their best behavior, and family law attorneys are meeting with the best people on their worst behavior. And I think that really does sum it up. With family law, no one chooses to have to meet with a family law attorney. No one. If everyone had their way, they would never have to talk to me, ever, or any other family law attorney, right? So I know from the initial contact that I have with my clients, they don't want to need me, but they do. And I really try to have that approach help shape the conversation and the client's goals and how I can help the client, and also get an idea of whether or not the client's goals are realistic. During that initial conversation, there is some expectation setting. And, some things clients want are just completely not in line with what a judge would ever do. And it's important to discuss that with the client, make sure they understand that, and also see how they respond to that, to decide whether or not it's going to be a good fit, no matter what situation. If you're talking about family law and a divorce case, they may have unreasonable expectations, but you can also have that in the surrogacy side. If best practices as far as surrogacy is one embryo per transfer. If an intended parent comes to you and they want to do, 2 or 3 embryos, which when I first started, it was unusual to do that many, but not unheard of. Now, that would be absolutely unheard of and would not be something that the medical clinic would do, and would not be something that that we should encourage our clients to do. We would need to do some expectation setting as to what was reasonable as far as going forward.
Right. So it definitely sounds like you're taking a lot of proactive steps to ensure a supportive and compassionate environment for your clients. There's the education, there's the leading with empathy, there's the active listening. So can you explain how your approach to representing clients differs, or maybe it doesn't differ, when they're ending a family unit versus when they're in the process of building a new one?
Yes. It is a very similar process as far as the initial conversations, kind of like when you, go see your doctor, or you see a therapist, or you try to avail yourself of service of a professional. That initial contact is going to be very important. And you want to make sure that you are comfortable with the person that you're talking to. Does the individual answer your questions? Does the individual listen? So, as far as initial contact, I make sure that, because it's just me, initial contact is me. When folks call, I speak to them, I answer their questions. Usually, time permitting, we have a brief call where we get the basics. If there's time, then we'll set a lengthier consultation quickly, because these situations are always urgent. So, just trying to be receptive to the client and helping the client where they are.
Nice. So it sounds like regardless of where they are, what services they need from you, they're going to get that compassionate, action-oriented response from you.
Correct. Always.
Well, I want to thank the listeners for tuning in to Building Families, Bridging Differences, a Family Law Journey with Shelly Cooley. To connect with Shelly and her team, head to CooleyLawLV.com. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review so even more people can see these episodes and hear them. So Shelly, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.